Welcome back to Grass Types, the show where you learn to identify plants and maybe some other cool things along the way. This time, we are going to attack a large water-blooming native plant called American Lotus. Its scientific name is Nelumbo lutea. Nelumbo means lotus and lutea means yellow in Latin. It has many other common names, most of them given by Native Americans, and excuse me if I mispronounce these. Wabisapin, Tewapi, water chinkapin, sacred bean, and macopin. American Lotus belongs to the Nelumbonaceae family, the lotus lily family, which contains only 2 living species, the other of which is Nelumbo nucifera, the sacred lotus out of Asia. They used to belong to the Nymphaceae family with water lilies, but genetic research indicated they look similar due to convergent evolution. Their closest living relatives are plane trees, such as the American sycamore. You can find this perennial plant growing up to 6 feet deep in the floodplains and backwaters of large bodies of water or river systems, such as the Mississippi, Fox, and Wisconsin rivers. It grows in large masses, called colonies, and has yellow, fragrant flowers that bloom for a few days each, closing at night from July through September. The flowers can stick 3 feet above water, as can the leaves. They are large, 4 to 10 inches across, growing from a single stalk from the rhizome nodes. One study found, when looking at the sacred lotus, that each rhizome node has a flower that starts growing, but a low percentage of the flowers grow to fruition. They have 10 to 20 tepals, many hooked stamens, and a yellow-orange receptacle with 10 to 20 pistils that are embedded in pits. The receptacle is the thickened part of the stem from which flower organs grow. The seeds that develop in these pits grow to a ½ inch long. As the seeds blacken and become ready to disperse, the receptacle browns and turns upside down, tipping the seeds into the water. If the seeds float, they are said to not be viable. If you pick the dried flower before they tip upside down, you'll have what's known as a swamp rattle, as the seeds will rattle around nicely when shaken. The leaves are borne on a single stalk that sticks up above the water, and just like the peduncle, has large air chambers that help it float. They are 12 to 28 inches across, have wavy margins, are peltate, meaning the petiole joins the leaf at the center, and are hydrophobic, or water-hating. Water runs off the leaves like beads due to little hairs on the leaf surface. The roots are long and rhizomatous with tubers developing for nutrient storage over the winter. They are strong colonizers that can expand 15 meters in a year. They grow in mucky substrate and can tolerate a wide range of pH levels. They were introduced into new bodies of water by Native Americans as a food source. The other species of lotus, Nelumbo nucifera, can also be found in America due to human introduction. It is different in that it has pink flowers and a prickly stem. It has been hybridized with American lotus for commercial reasons. You can find American lotus in the eastern half of North America, from Canada to Mexico. Populations can come and go in areas due to water level changes, age of the colony, and other reasons. Each colony has low genetic diversity within itself. It is listed as threatened or endangered in New Jersey, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and is extirpated in Delaware, and a noxious weed in Connecticut. Now, you can grow American lotus yourself pretty easily. All it needs is for the seeds to be scarified, then put in water for about a week. Some people buy a large pot and grow it there. If you would like to grow it in a more natural setting, like a pond, use caution, as it can cause hypoxia, or low levels of dissolved oxygen levels in an area, which would negatively affect fish populations within the colony. However, because it can block out sunlight so well, it can counteract eutrophication, where there's excessive algae growth. It can aid in denitrification and heavy metal removal such as copper, arsenic, and cadmium as well, through rhizofiltration. In Michigan, it's the symbol of water quality. Remember that it expands rapidly too. One research study found that it did not respond well to herbicides, so once you established it, you might be stuck with it for a while. Now, if it was for a restoration project, as it is declining in many areas, one study found more success in planting germinated or divided plants in burlap sacks, rather than directly by seed or containerized plants. The seeds have a really long shelf life, decades, centuries. In fact, for Nelumbo nucifera, they found a 1,300-year-old seed and it still germinated. American Lotus provides food and shelter for many different wildlife. Waterfowl such as mallards, geese, and northern shovelers will eat the seeds. Muskrats will go after the tubers. A couple moss species will bore through the rhizomes, like the cattail and lotus borer moss. Shoreflies, beetles, and several bee species, some of which are oligolites or specialists, all use the plants. Native Americans have relied on the American lotus as both a food source and as a spiritual symbol. For example, the Osage tribe would ceremoniously wade through the lotus patches in pairs in the fall when water levels were lower and there were less snakes, and use their feet to find the tubers. After washing, they would string them out to dry for winter storage. One of the Osage Indians' main dishes involved boiling the tubers with pork and eating them with bread. Seeds, sometimes known as Cajun peanuts or alligator corn, can be used as a thickener in soups, and young leaves can be used as leafy greens. The nutritious, good for the heart plants that are a good source of vitamin C and potassium are venerated as a symbol of long life and health, especially for children. Other tribes that use it for food include the Comanche, Dakota, Huron, Meskwaki, Ojibwe, Omaha, and Potawatomi. Besides food, people have found a couple of other interesting uses for lotus plants as well. In countries such as Myanmar, Cambodia, and Vietnam, they extract lotus silk from the stems and make special ceremonial robes from them. A group in Singapore, using biomimicry, developed a product called e-air, replicating the lotus effect where water droplets run off the surface. They developed a very sensitive sensor that can detect very light touches and pressure changes, which could be used at the tips of robot graspers or in laparoscopic surgery where small incisions are made and tiny tools are used to perform surgeries. The dried receptacles are also used in floral arrangements. So that's it for American Lotus on today's episode of Grass Types. Thanks for watching, and be sure to join us again in the next ID battle. P.S. Did you find out if you have trypophobia in this video?